Hello, I am a perfectly normal and not suspicious bellboy and or slash butler. My name is Mr. Not. Mr. Not, a murderer.
I thought you said nut. I'm so sorry.
No? Can I get you a drink? And nobody? Okay.
I'd like to have one martini, and I'll pay you with a big old roll of cash.
Oh, thank you. That's the only way I take money anymore. Is in rolls of cash.
God, I needed to get to signed up for this not suspicious butler job.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report. This is a podcast from Yotsuben and Friends where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo.
And Rose.
Hi.
If you're a first-time listener, Dessy and I are the longtime fans, and Rose and Tiago are the newcomers. We hope that through both of our perspectives as we play through the series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series that's near and dear to us. Today, we have all played 2-4 Farewell My Turnabout, the fourth and final case of the game. And this game has been a bit of a wild one. We've had our ups and downs throughout Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Justice for All.
I feel like it was like one down, right? It was just case 2-3 that sucked.
I think that's how we are all generally feeling, is that it was just Turnabout Big Top that was our rough one.
I have a moment to complain about in this case. Sorry, everybody, but it's unrelated. It's unrelated to the quality of the case. It was good.
So this is the fourth and final case of the game, and Phoenix Wright is hanging out with Pearl and Maya at basically a Toku Awards show, the Grand Prix for the various samurai characters that we've had so far. We meet the Jammin' Ninja and see all these characters show up, and at the very end, the Nickel Samurai is the one who wins the event. Our good friend Will Powers from Game 1 shows up again. He had invited us to come along with him on this journey and see the show. And Maya and Pearl are just having a blast. They're loving this. But there's two things that pop up at the very start, which is that, there's a weird, message going around that there's going to be a press conference by the... this one is by the Nickel Samurai, right? Yes, the Nickel Samurai is giving the press conference. And it is going to be making an announcement / confession is the wording. And so everybody like, ooh, what could he be talking about? And he's going to do it in costume too. And if you've played the Steel Samurai case in Game 1, your alarm bells should be going off in your head right now. Because if they're in costume, then it's a chance it's not actually the person who plays the character. And then a bellboy comes by. A very non-mysterious, very normal-looking bellboy with stitches down the center of his face, and says, Maya Fey, you've got a phone call for you. Could you please come over here and take this phone call? And she's like, wow, I'd love to. And she walks into the, Acme phone booth cage that proceeds to lift her off and kidnap her. You start off this case with a murder happening in this in the hotel, and then Maya getting kidnapped, and you have to defend the what do we want to call him? A wet nap of a man, I guess.
I feel like we did wet napkin of a man earlier for Miles.
I might have used that for somebody else. But Matt Engard, the actor for the Nickel Samurai,
I thought he was just on initial impression he was like a derpy, like
an idiot. You can say stupid idiot.
He was like a derpy dope. I don't want to say derpy because if I say derpy, it makes me think about My Little Pony. I gotta say something fucking else.
Dopey works. Dopey's a good substitute.
Dopey. He's a dopey surfer, bro.
Right.
And like the case goes on.
And yeah, Phoenix gets handed this walkie-talkie that says, "Hey, I've got Maya kidnapped. Go ahead and get Matt and Guard acquitted at the case tomorrow. And if you do that, she'll go free. Simple as that."
I'm so sorry, Ben. Can you tell me the name of the person who is on the transceiver?
Oh, yes. Dick Killer.
Okay, just making sure. Got my notes lined up.
That's French, everybody.
Dick Killer. Dude, I've been playing Disco
Dick
Elysium,
Killer.
and I have been listening to French, and I'm like, damn, who could it be? Dick Killer.
Everybody play Disco Elysium.
So the person that Matt and Guard has been accused of killing is Juan Corrida, a rival actor who plays the Jammin' Ninja. And they've apparently, like I said, they're rivals. They've been at each other for a little bit. And this supposedly has where it's finally come to a head, and Matt and Guard has had him killed. But you meet some other characters along the way. You meet our good old friend Wendy Oldbag, who is working as security here in an astronaut outfit.
No, she's an alien.
An alien outfit.
Like,
Queen.
She's wearing a fishbowl on her head.
All right.
We also see Lotta Hart here, who is continuing her streak as a journalist, so she says. But basically chasing down gossip. And we get to see, like I said before, Will Powers again. Gumshoe gets involved. Gumshoe is very involved in this case, which is really fun if you're a fan of Gumshoe content.
Yay!
Yeah.
And yeah, basically the start of this case is Phoenix having to confront this challenge in which he's really, really worried about Maya being kidnapped. And he also specifically goes, when he meets with Matt and Guard, he and Pearl, they literally look at him because they're like, man, this is really suspicious. They look him in the eye and they say, did you kill anybody? While they're holding the Magatama, and they're using it as like a lie detector, and no psyche locks show up on Matt. And he's like, I didn't kill anybody.
Which is, honestly, we need to start doing this a lot
with every
soon.
person.
Yeah, thank God Pearl has the one brain cell that we need.
She was like, we should just ask him straight up, And yeah, he says, I didn't kill anybody. No psyche locks pop up, so he must be telling the truth. And Phoenix goes, okay, I believe you. I'm going to defend you. And so we're off to the races and starting to investigate this wild case. So I guess general impressions from everybody here. We'll go around the table. Tiago, what did you think of this case on the whole?
So, this case, right? I think it's exciting. I think I shouldn't say exciting. I mean I did enjoy it. I did enjoy this case. I did I have a moment where I was like, oh, I gotta keep playing to figure out what happens, There's a new tension brought on by being forced to be an attorney. There is Matt on guard, possibly the most hostile client we've ever had. There's a hot new witness, Adrian Andrews. She's a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Damn right she is.
That's just clear. A lot of the things happened in this case, and some of them were just...
The A means attorney.
It's right in the title, Des. Ace Attorney.
God damn it. He's an ace attorney.
On the other hand, though, he's constantly trying to fuck Miles, so mixed messages.
So, this case, I enjoyed it. Now, if you were to ask me if there are some moments where I got fucking lost, here's what I'll say is that in terms of difficulty, I found this to be a less difficult case than 1-5. This case, I felt actually pretty confident. There wasn't a lot of moments where I was totally stumped. And there was a couple moments where I didn't know what to do, but then I looked back through my court record and I was like, oh yeah, that thing. Character wise, I guess Adrian's neat. I don't feel in love with any of these characters that were introduced this case, because I felt like a lot of this case focused on characters that already existed. This was about Phoenix. This was about Gumshoe. This was about Miles Edgeworth. Francisca was there, but like not really. I think if anything that I took away from this case is that I feel like the conclusion of Francisca's arc was like weirdly cheapened because, spoiler for this case, she does not prosecute. She's not the prosecutor you face. It's Miles. So like,
correct.
I didn't get a chance to resolve her character arc. Her character arc got resolved off screen.
Boy, I sure hope there's another game for me to play where I can see her.
I was just like,
I hope she's in the next one, right?
Oh, we'll never know.
We'll have to find out, won't we?
I mean, she's probably in the Miles Edgeworth investigation games, right? Like, it's Miles. He's the protag. I think from what I take away from this case is that, like, I'm not crazy. It's very mid. I guess I'm not crazy about it. I thought I was more crazy about, like, I like the concept. I'm talking way too much here. I took up like fucking 10 minutes here.
Don't worry.
Here's what I'm saying about this case. I don't think it's bad because I actually do enjoy a lot of pieces about this case, including the fact that like you can't necessarily trust your client, and there's like some callbacks to the first case of 2-1. I shouldn't say the first case because the first case implies 1-1. But I feel like things could have been written differently, and I kind of wish they were. And I'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do think that to provide some like historical context, we talked about this briefly before, but there were supposed to be 5 cases in this game originally. So there was supposed to be one more build-up case in which you would face off against Francisca. And that would be in between cases 3 and 4 instead. There would have been, a different 4th case there. And then this case would have been 5. And that got removed due to space concerns. Literally, the animator, the artist who made all the animations in the game, made them too elaborate. And they took up too much space to the point where they said, okay, we gotta chop this case out and move it to game 3. So that's what they do. So you are missing that. And B, there is the scene at the very end. I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but the scene at the end with Francisca and Miles, which kind of is intended to be the wrap up on her arc for this game, that was added very late, very, very late in the development process. Takumi says that was one of the last things they added to the game. So I think that's, I think that's very telling, I think, as far as like how her arc plays out. But we can get into that a little bit more in depth as we go through the details. Rose, how did you feel overall about this case?
Well, earlier I briefly complained I had a moment of frustration, which was not necessarily about the story and more about gameplay. So I'm gonna set that aside for now. Overall, I did quite like this case. I'm glad we finally had to defend someone who's actually guilty, because I've kind of been like, where is it? Like tapping my watch, and it has arrived. Miles is back. That's cool. He just sort of shows up and is like, yeah, I'm good. And he and Francisca like have a little cat fight about it. And like Phoenix just stands there in silence. And it's one of my favorite things. Like just like there's several moments where he just has like a ... Like,
right,
and he
it's
doesn't,
very funny.
He doesn't say a word, and that was like, all right, well, like this is a comedy game because like they're having a slapstick fight with a whip over there, and this man's just like, I thought you committed suicide because of me, and you just like walk in here like it's no big deal. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I felt like the star of the show is more like the interpersonal drama between like obviously Miles and Phoenix, and like I don't know how much he cares about Maya and how much Pearl cares about Maya and how much Gumshoe and Edgeworth care about Maya. Everybody loves Maya. We should change the name of the game.
Everybody loves Maya, yeah.
I would love it if there was like a new spin-off in this game, and it's just like you get to see Maya's chill day. You know what I mean? Like just her hanging out, eating burgers, nothing bad happens. Or you get to play a mini game where you get to channel spirits or some shit. I don't know.
I mean, this case was the real trial for Maya. Because it wasn't getting kidnapped that was that awful for her. It was the fact that she didn't get to have any burgers for
2 days.
3 whole days. 2 whole days.
2 days. They're like, she's starving to death. I'm like, she's not, bitch. She's fine.
I thought you guys were going to mention the fact that, like, this was a trial for Maya because she's finally been able to use her summoning abilities, like, on call. And, like, she got better.
She and Pearl played telephone with Mia. Like, there was a lot of cool stuff in this case. The actual mystery, I feel like I kind of figured it out a little on the early side, but I didn't necessarily mind, I guess. Honestly, I felt like it held my hand a little too much. As far as, like, it's him, there's an hired assassin, So pretty early on, I was like, wow, everything points to Adrian Andrews so much, but we're not even halfway done with this. So, like, clearly there's something else going on.
There's too much evidence.
And I was right.
They give you the initial setup of an assassin or a kidnapper has told you that they've kidnapped Maya and you have to get Matt and Guard acquitted. Mm-hmm. That's pretty suspicious for Matt right off the gate.
Well, because I was like, wow, this man's a dipshit. I love defending dipshits. Maybe so my initial thought was either there's something else, obviously something else is going on here, but I was like, all right, either he, like, did it, or he is truly the stupidest man on earth. And it turns out, spoilers, he did it. But he might also be the stupidest man on earth.
Dessy, what were your overall thoughts?
I think playing it myself the first time versus having you play through it the second time, I realized that a lot of my frustration with the case is when you know the answer to something and the game has to, like, dance around it just a little bit longer and a little bit longer. Like, the whole time that they're buying time for Gumshoe, I'm just like, this feels like it's going on just a little bit too long. And I think that kind of is where I had the issue with when I played it the first time. Because I do remember everyone, like, saying that this was a good case compared to some of the other ones. I wouldn't say it's my favorite case ever, but maybe it's just because of the, frustration that you just get from that happening. But damn, they wouldn't let Adrian take a break.
Yeah.
They beat her with a 2x4 for like 2 hours.
I'm glad it.
Yeah, do we want to get into this now with Adrian Andrews? Because her character, she's introduced as Matt's manager, but she had previously had a relationship with Juan Corrida, the victim.
Yeah, she's hot Samus with glasses.
Yes, that's kind of what her character design is.
Yeah, hot girl alert, as I said when I saw her to my friend out loud.
Oh, I love her.
She's your first introduction to her is that she's calm, cool, and collected, and she's got everything together. She's got her little notepad, and she keeps track of every appointment and every date, and she's got it, everything under control.
A real Kim Kitsuragi. Fuck. I fucked it. I fucked it. Cut it out.
It's fine.
Cut it out of the podcast.
You want to take it again?
No.
And so, she is then, as you progress through the case, as always with every Ace Attorney case, there has to be like a secret hidden backstory to all these characters, or a case that happened years ago. And the case, quote unquote, that happened here is that, you know, her mentor who got her into the industry was also somebody who was, you know, dated, you know, Matt and Guard, and then was used and abused by him. And then, you know, after the fact, then left, and then she committed suicide over the amount of, like, you know, chaos that she went through with these two men, Juan and Matt, and being involved with the two of them. And then that mentor was like Adrian's anchor, is kind of how the game pitches it, is that she's a person who like latches on to somebody and is very dependent on someone else, and when they disappear, then she flounders. So all that to say, then, you know, you have to dredge all that up to try to establish a motive for Matt as you start to work through things. First, you use this as motive for Adrian when you are chasing her down and thinking she's did it, but then as things turn and you realize that it really is your own client, Matt, who did it, you have to keep dredging up this awful memory for her of her mentor committing suicide and Adrian attempting to commit suicide and all these other awful things. And Miles, in particular, Miles Edgeworth, brings it up in court and drags it out. And then you have to do it as Phoenix. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot to deal with. And it feels like she doesn't get a ton of agency in this situation. And it didn't sit quite well with me this time through. You know, like I started to feel like between this and then the Francisco wrap-up scene in this case, it really felt like we had to have two like aggressive, strong female characters and like bring them down a bit. And I don't know if there's any actual like substance there, like, or I don't want to like accuse the Takumi or any of the other like production crew of like aggressively going after this actual idea, but it didn't. It having two characters like that back to back in the same case have that happen the same way. It just it felt kind of raw to me, and I was like, well, so I don't know that I don't have like a thesis statement here on this for like a cohesive idea for what I think happened and why these characters turned out this way, but yeah, it just didn't quite sit right with me the second time around. I'm not, you know, saying this case is awful or anything like that, but
I think that's part of the frustration that I had with the feeling like a lot of things were really dragged out. Like the stuff with trying to get buy time for Gumshoe, while a lot of it was funny, a lot of it was also like, okay, we get it, can we move on now? Like, I know what's going on here, but it feels like there's like one or two arguments too long, and the arguments are backing into and bringing up the suicide again, and they keep... How many times did they bring up that picture? It was like, it had to have been more than 10 times, that whole case.
Wait, the picture of...
The picture of the suicide of her hanging.
Oh, I thought you meant the picture of Celeste Impacts, and I was like, oh, we only use that once.
Yeah, of her suicide.
Yeah, that makes sense. I thought you meant the picture that she says, with love, to Matt on guard.
Oh, no. Yeah, the act, like it was just like the memory image of the suicide. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It does pop up quite a bit there, and to the point where when we were streaming it and we were playing through it, we started to, you know, kind of morbidly make jokes about it. We were like, oh man, how many times are they going to show this? Because it was a little more grim than we had remembered.
Like, in the moment, you don't think about it, but, like, after they brought it up, like, the 4th time in the same hour...
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, like... I mean, I think... So, here's where I'm going to play the prosecution, and I'm going to try to defend the use of this photo. And as I say this out loud, I'm realizing that this is a dumb idea.
You're going to play devil's advocate, but you don't actually want to.
I don't want to, but, like, when I was playing through it, I played through it on like 4 days ago, on my own time. I think that like that section was just kind of brutal, right? Because the stress of the case did not come from the actual argument that you were in. the stress in that moment was so simply just creating time for Gumshoe, who got into a fucking traffic accident. So like at that point, I think the biggest thing about this case is that like this case didn't matter to the arcs of the character. I mean, obviously it mattered a lot to Adrian and Matt and Juan Corda, who's dead, and shit like that. But like, in regards to Phoenix, Miles, Gumshoe, Francisca, like, this case didn't really touch upon any of their arcs. They were simply just having their own arc parallel to this. And my brain was like, I care way more about their relationship than I do this actual case. We know Matt is guilty, but we're doing this to, like, stall for time for Gumshoe. So literally any conversation piece I had to do with the actual case, my thought was like, I'm just gonna say the dumbest shit possible just to waste time. I don't care. Like, the actual interesting part of this fucking case is when the entire courtroom is like shouting at you because you're like, the courtroom knows Matt is guilty and you were being a scumbag lawyer defending him to the point of accusing this lady to do it. But like, you're only accusing her so that you could stall for time. Like, you don't believe in the accusation.
That's irony, baby.
Like, you're now using your tactics that you have been this entire time, but for evil.
These are the tactics. I said this in the stream. These are the tactics that the prosecution has been using up to this moment. But really? You are using them.
I feel like I'm using the same tactic.
You're using the tactics of, no, you show evidence to prove this point.
Oh, yeah, that's
instead
fair.
of the judge just saying, oh, the prosecution said it, so it must be true.
Like,
I mean, the prosecution should be proving their point with evidence also.
Yeah, that's a good fucking point.
But they don't.
They don't have to.
This is the dark ages of the law.
Because it's a game.
So like, my biggest thing about like that whole thing and the morbidity of it is that like, at a certain point, like, maybe this is parallel to life, is that like, I the lawyer had too much shit going on to care about the well-being of the people in this case. Like, I was more concerned about Maya, I was more concerned about Edgeworth, I was more concerned about Gumshoe. Like, if this was like a NBC hospital show, like, I'd be way more concerned about the livelihood of my coworkers than my actual patient, who is probably dying on the fucking bed. And like, you get my point. Like,
you're not emotionally attached to them the same way you are to somebody you are emotionally attached to.
And like,
somebody that we've been involved with for the last 3 to 4 cases, or the previous game too.
Oh, go ahead.
No, what do you have to? I want to.
Oh, I was going to circle all the way back to the start of this conversation, actually. So you better finish your thought.
No, I was just gonna repeat the same shit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So I want to circle all the way back to Ben's criticism of the writing of Adrian Andrews, because I actually didn't get any of that.
Okay.
I do feel like Francisca, like, I love her, wish she'd been here more. I'm not necessarily opposed to what they showed of her. I just wish that there had been a little more her. And knowing that there was another case with her that was supposed to happen that didn't.
When you say her, you mean Francisca?
Francisca,
okay,
yeah.
I thought you meant.
So like,
I thought you meant Adrian. For
I'm
a
not.
second.
I definitely don't want to dispute Ben's point about Francisca. Like, she kind of got shoved off into the hospital, and there was some fun stuff with that. Like, Miles carries her physically to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Love that. They have some fights. They say goodbye to each other at the airport in the end credits scene. I wish there had been a little more, but I didn't dislike what I got. I'm just like, I see more of that cake over there, and I would like some more of it. I only got like one slice of information about Francisca, and I would like another. But as far as Adrian Andrews goes, like, I obviously like her character. She has a terrible time. Like, that can't be disputed, but I didn't feel like the writing was like she even says, like, so blatantly at one point, she's like, oh, Juan and Matt, they don't care about me or Celeste. they just were using us as like props for their rivalry against each other, and like sort of implying that that's what you and Edgeworth are doing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel obviously like just because the character goes, oh, I'm aware of the trope, doesn't necessarily mean they're absolved from it. But I didn't get the like blatant like, oh, just put her down because she's a strong woman thing. I got this person struggling desperately to try and do what she thinks is right, even though what she thinks is right is kind of wrong and
straight up illegal.
Edgeworth's an asshole. Like, whatever, buddy.
Yeah.
Just because you were like depressed doesn't mean you get to shit on other people who are depressed. Miles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, who are you talking to?
I'm talking about Miles and also everyone.
Yeah. To solidify what I meant there, I guess thinking about it more, it's not, as always, I'm not one of these types of people who are like, we should not have awful things happen in our media, Like, I'm totally fine with the actual material stuff that has happened to Adrian as part of her character arc, like the shit she goes through. Like, I'm fine with telling a story about that. I think I would have liked it way, way more if I think it was literally just the landing. Like, the more that I think about it, I think it's literally just the landing for that arc, which is at the very end that she thanks Phoenix and Miles.
Oh yeah, she should still tell Miles to go to hell. I agree with that.
Yeah, I feel like I would have. I feel like, because we've been talking about this. Jenny or Dessy and I had talked about this with Iroh recently about if a show or a game or a series does not have a good ending, it can really ruin the rest of the series, even if it was very, very good. And I think it was and even then it was just a few sentences at the end from Adrian where she's like, "Oh yeah, thanks Phoenix and thanks Edgeworth for doing all this, and you really did help me out." And I wish that there had just been a little bit more depth to her line, to those last final lines where she would have been like, you should really, like, yes, I've come out the other side and I feel much better now that this truth is out there, kind of thing.
No thanks to you guys.
But yeah, I wish we could have done it a different way, kind of thing. I don't know. I would have loved some more. Yeah,
even the judge is just like, "Whew, that was a close one, wasn't it, buddy?"
The judge.
I just would have liked a little more complexity there.
So detached, yeah.
But in the end, it is Ace Attorney,
Yeah.
Like we got to have like a nice, neat bow on everything. We complained about this with the Big Top case too.
Oh yeah,
where everything was tied up with a nice little bow. And we were like, man, this does not feel like it should have a nice little bow on it.
We're all friends again. We're going to fix the circus. Yay. Yeah, sort of like that. I definitely think, like, that that scene, like, at that point I was so frustrated because of some stuff that happened with me gameplay-wise that I just saw that scene and I was like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever, Adrian. Like, sorry. I gotta go. I need to finish this case.
Here's the thing, right? Is that, like, the game wants you to care about these characters, but the second any character is put in a witness stand, I instantly dislike them. Because
I cared about Adrian. She was hot.
I mean, fair, she's hot.
I'm objectifying women. I'll show myself out.
Here's what I'm saying. First of all, we all respect women here. Second of all, the thing about literally any witness, anyone who literally got into any, like, if I have to prove anyone wrong in court, my immediate thought is, you are against me and you're not helping me. A lot of heart, I like you outside of court. The second you're in a witness stand, I'm shooting you. Like, if they,
Tiago wants to kill NPCs, reoccurring theme.
That's the thing though, is that, like, she has a very interesting motive, and, like, you find out, this is going to go into the case, that, like, the first day is essentially you grilling her, and then you realize that you have a lot of evidence saying that, yeah, she did touch all the crime scene and all this stuff, and then it occurs to you that, like, none of this proved that she actually killed the victim. All this proved is that she found a corpse, stabbed it, and tried to frame your client. And, like, that doesn't prove that she did the killing, though. So it's like, okay, Adrian, and she's doing all this because she knows that Matt Engard is the real villain, your client is the villain, and must die. But
yeah, he's a monster and needs to go to prison is her argument. And this part I love about her arc. I love that, and I wish this had gotten a little more focus, is that like this is her taking things into her own hands for the first time, you know?
Yeah.
She's been quote unquote relying on other people this whole time, and now she finally is like, no, fuck this dude. I'm gonna take my, opportunity. I'm gonna shoot my shot, and I'm gonna frame this guy and put him away forever because he should not be able to hurt anybody else. But then, like, that part I genuinely really like.
But then she like relapses in her, her codependent nature. I said that mockingly as if like to mock people with the codependent nature. No, I'm mocking this game. I like it. What I'm saying is that like it's weird to have a character go from like, I guess that's the thing though, is that it's a relapse. Never mind. I'm reconsidering the thought that I was about to say, is that like she goes from like taking control, and then she immediately the next day Franziska Kafka kicks down her door and goes, all right, remember that you have the Fifth Amendment, and you can
because this is America.
Because this is America. And it's like so then in court it implies that her codependent nature is latched onto Franziska, which like why? So like
Franziska is also hot.
Yeah, you got it. It's hot girl solidarity.
You know what? I'm not contributing anything to this.
And like the thing about like so that's why we made a joke about like Adrian Andrews being lesbian coded, because like her mentor, we all know, like, ooh, she taught me how to bone. All right, like, all right, moving on. The point is that like her character. No, I actually had a finishing thought. Give me a second. On the second day of investigation, where like before the final court date, you meet up with Adrian again. It's like 11 p.m. and you like sit down with her, and you fucking realize like Matt's true nature, which is that he's an abusive monster who has manipulated everyone around him to think that he's refreshing as a spring breeze. And like she like is looking at you and is like, congratulations, you now know the truth. And it's like, okay, great, I'll see you in court tomorrow. I'm going to accuse you of murder. And like, I'll see you later, Adrian. And it's like, we had to drag her back in to finish this, and it's like,
I think it's supposed to feel bad though. Like yeah, it feels bad when
it happens at 11 p.m. at the detention center.
You're like,
that like
everything.
It's dark, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks, and you're like, I'm gonna have to keep doing this tomorrow, and like,
it's shitty.
Sucks. It feels bad, and Phoenix obviously feels bad.
Yeah, like
so it's not like Phoenix is like, oh, this is fine. He's like, this is terrible. I'm a monster. I hate myself for doing this.
Yeah, like he has the nightmare that he has in case 1 where the judge kills him with the gavel, right? And like
it's very funny.
It's a very funny dream. And like I think maybe the reason her arc feels stretched out is because we, the player, had to stretch it out in order to justify what we were doing, right? Like,
also, yeah, we'd already figured out what was happening. We just had to sort of dick around for a while.
Literally, like, you guys walked into that court date, both Miles and you knew what the fucking truth was, but because of the killer's hold on Maya, you had to fucking dance. And like, that's why the last day feels so stretched out, is because these characters are forcing us, the player, to stretch it out.
Yeah, we're doing an act. And the performance is not is just for the assassins, for the killer's benefit.
I guess like
we're putting on a show for him.
That brings up sort of like, what's the line between like, oh, this game simulates the real feeling of like struggle versus like, I've struggled enough. This is a video game. Like, let me.
Well, that's why I love having these conversations.
Give me the dopamine. Like, what's the balance between that?
Because everybody's gonna fall on this line somewhere differently. Some folks are going to be like, you know what? I loved it because it did feel super stressful and annoying, but that was what made it feel real to me. And other people are going to be like, no, I did not like that at all. And as we've been having these conversations, like, I came into this a little more down on it than I had been in the past. Like, I still really like this case a lot. I still think it's one of my favorites, but I was a little more down on it than I had been before. But talking about it now, I'm remembering some really great moments again, and I'm going, wait, fuck, that moment late at night at the detention center, when you finally get to break Matt's psyche locks.
Yeah,
man,
oh my god,
it's such a good moment. It's such a good moment.
He pulls out that big big
decanter.
stupid decanter. Where do I get that? I was losing. So one of the things I do to help me take notes, I pull back the curtain a la Wizard of Oz, is I take photos of my DS screen of like important things that like I remember, and one of them was just immediately like, I need a picture of that decanter, like something that like really strikes my eye. And that was just, oh my god.
Yeah. It does.
The rest are just photos of Edgeworth.
That yeah. Both. I'm surprised that they're not also photos of Francisca von Karma.
She wasn't in this case a lot.
That's fair.
You know, I do have some actually.
She got her one moment. She did get her one big moment. To bust into the courtroom.
Yeah,
she tries to roll up while a bullet is in her, just like her dad got shot in the shoulder. I'm just saying, what I saw.
Poetry, it rhymes.
What I saw from her, I loved. I wish there had been more her.
That's the thing about it, though, is that like the final cases. I say cases of the first game because there is multiple cases of the first game. There's the final one where you absolve Miles Edgeworth, and then there's the final one where you take on Chief Gann and finish Edgeworth's arc. Like, they're both arc-centric on the prosecutor that you were facing. And this case, I felt literally had nothing to do with Francisca von Karma. I thought, I was hoping, I had no idea what this case was going to be about. But if I was writing this case, if I took over, because I'm a great alternate dick writer, I would have it be a case where you were defending Francisca von Karma from Miles Edgeworth.
Yeah, I do kind of wish that she had been accused of murder so I could defend her in court.
I want her to be accused of murder so I can defend her in court against Miles Edgeworth, therefore completing this fucked up little circle.
Well then, and then we need another prosecutor for the third game.
Well, we're probably going to get another prosecutor for the third game. There's a guy on the cover.
Right. You're right.
So like,
we'll get there.
But like, talking about this case, like, I played through it. I thought a lot of the twists and turns were interesting. Overall, if I was going to take this case and judge it by itself, I'd say this is a perfectly fine case. I like it. It's just that when you place this case in the context of it being the final case of Game 2, you see, like, you had a villain arc with Francisca von Karma, and also the setup for Madame Morgan Le Fay being a villain, but that didn't resolve in this game at all. Hey, remember
Where
that?
Where did she go? I'm really missing this other case that was supposed to happen in between this and the circus case all of a sudden.
Morgan.
Well, I can give you a little bit of context. This is no spoilers, but I'll give you just a little bit of context again, historical context for it. The case that has been removed is a case much like Big Berry Circus.
Oh,
not that it's a bad case per se or anything, but that it is a individual standalone case that does not link with the larger story very much.
I just want social link Francisca.
As far as bringing everything together, the final game, or Game 3, brings every loose end just about back together.
Okay.
So if you are looking now, whether you think it does it well or not, we'll have to see when we get there. But as far as like in trying to bring everything together, it does make that attempt. So we'll see when we get there. But yes, Game 3 starts to pick up some of those loose ends, which is very funny because they did not know that they were going to be able to make a Game 3 at the time. So it's a bit of a called shot to leave Morgan Le Fay hanging.
I'm glad they're going to wrap it up. That makes me feel better.
You could literally have a case in which that Morgan Fay like orchestrates Francisca von Karma's like murder, and like you could have Miles Edgeworth be the defending prosecutor, and I think that'd be sick. But that's probably not what's gonna happen. I'm saying if I wrote this imaginary case. Now, I'm still trying to feel like. Obviously, I like this case better than Big Berry Circus because I like cock and ball torture more than Big Berry Circus. Like,
Jesus Christ!
Like fucking
yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Oh man!
But like, I think that if I was a little Tiago playing on my DS and this was the end of Case 2, my immediate thought would be like, I want to play the Game 3 right now. If I knew there was a Game 3. This game is like a real... It has a lot of mixed emotions and stuff like that. It's a real Last Jedi. You know what I mean? Like...
You can't do this. We can't
we
bring
can't.
outside discourse into this too.
Ben and I's Star Wars podcast will be launching later.
Later this year, yeah.
Oh, where you guys watch every movie and write a review.
Coming soon to own.
There's so many Star Wars podcasts out there. There's nobody.
You should have
there's
a
no new
podcast
ground
about The Last Jedi specifically, and each episode's about like a 10-minute segment of The Last Jedi.
I can't do that.
just like a scene.
We can't get into Tiago. We can't get into
I'm
this. I'm not strong enough.
What I'm saying is that like this game represents the middle part of a trilogy, and like without the context of the ending, I feel like I can't prescribe how I feel about this game. You know what I mean?
You know, it's definitely got a bit of that Empire Strikes Back, that downer, energy.
Yeah, I would definitely pick the Empire Strikes Back over The Last Jedi, I think.
The Last Jedi has a little more optimistic ending.
I just wanted to stoke the fire.
I think no, we can't talk about it.
But yeah, we can't. We can't do Star Wars on Ace Attorney.
No.
So, let's get into, I guess, some of the other like nitty gritty details here. I guess. Like,
oh yeah,
because we had like Rose. You said you had a gameplay issue that you bumped into.
I have a
caused
complaint.
Some issues.
I'd like to lodge a complaint.
And is it the tree of moving around through the various rooms?
So my problem happened when I was playing, and I thought, all right, seems like a good save point. I'm gonna save my game, turn my DS off, finish tomorrow. Next day, wake up, finish, log back in, and I go, all right, nice. I started in this new area. I think it's when you do some activity. I think it's when you do the like bug like searching in Juan's room, and you find obviously this bear that has cameras in its eyes, and Gumshoe absconds with the cameras, and then Miles shows up and steals the bear. I think
yeah.
The specific word used is snatched up by Miles Edgeworth. He steals the bear from you.
He picks up the whole bear and walks off with it, which is very funny.
The $3,800 bear that you just dissected.
It's a FAO Schwartz bear.
Yeah.
It's a what bear? What did you just say?
It's a brand of teddy bear. It was a luxury teddy bear brand.
You said what?
FAO Schwartz.
My brain immediately went, yes, of course, Fate * online Schwartz.
Yeah, so they used to make bears. But so I do that, and Pearl and I are left standing there going, well, dagnabbit. And, I'm like, well, all right, now I know some stuff. Let me go investigate. And so I head out, and I go and I run around. I go to every area. I talk to everybody. I do everything. I go, and it's like, you can talk to Matt, and you can talk to Adrian at the detention center, even though it's late. And I'm like, cool. And it does that thing where it's like, who do you want to talk to? And when you're in that menu, you can't switch to the other one. You have to leave and then come back and choose who you want to talk to. And so I'm doing that. I'm over and over again. I can't break their psych locks. I'm losing health rapidly. I'm running around. It's been 30 minutes. I decide, fuck it, I'm checking the guide. Check the guide. And I'm like, I've done all this. I've talked to all these people. What's happening? Why can't I progress? And I scroll back up. There was a dialogue option with Pearl in the first room where it drops you to talk about something you'd already figured out, which was that Shelley D. Killer is the murderer and is an assassin. And I did not think about
yeah.
I was like, well, this is the landing page, so I'll be fine. And I left, and also I already knew what was going on, so I didn't think I needed to talk about it and have me telling Pearl be Phoenix telling the player. And if you don't do that, Will Powers never appears in the detention center, and you do not get the piece of evidence you need to do anything. And I wasted 30 minutes of my life, and I was very frustrated, and I hadn't even started the final court segment.
Right.
which is part of the reason why I got a little at the end.
Yeah,
And that's
I can.
Yeah,
feel
the
that.
game does require that you clear off every dialogue box with each character that possibly has them.
and I
So if you
thought
happen to miss one,
Yeah.
you have to run back around and check with
I
everybody.
missed one in the first room and I had to go all the way back. And
Mhm.
I know point and click games are like this, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it. So I was
Yeah.
very, very frustrated.
This was a game designed 20 years ago.
That's
game's-
no excuse.
This game's old enough to fight and die for its country.
Here's the thing. It's very funny that also, like, as far as I'm aware, they never get away from this. Like, it is still always requires you to check off every dialogue option with each
Good
character.
to know.
But interestingly enough, when I was going through the guide for this case as well, I noticed that there were quite a lot of segments where you could present two different pieces of evidence
Yeah.
for something. You could present the same piece of evidence to one or two different statements in the in the testimony, which is nice. It gives you a little bit more wiggle room there. And also during some of the Psyche Lock segments, there are bits where you have to present two pieces of evidence back to back, and it would allow you to present either one of those pieces in any order. Like, it won't, insist on one or the other.
See,
first.
I did also almost die in Adrian's late night one, after I'd been running around almost dying for 30 minutes, because that was not the case in her specific.
That's right. Hers is the one where they do lock it down.
You cannot present the photo first. You have to present the profile.
Yeah.
And I, again, was so mad at that point. And I was like, listen, Adrian, I like your character, but I gotta go.
You're hot, but
Like,
you're not hot enough for me not to be frustrated.
Yeah, it's the hot girl is fictional. The frustration is real. It's sort of my stance on a lot of things that make me annoyed in games.
One thing that I do appreciate, and unfortunately this will not be the case for Game 3, but beyond that, I think it starts from Game 4 onward, whenever you are required to present something, it will select and only allow you to choose from either the evidence, bucket or the profiles bucket, depending on what they're asking for.
Oh, thank
So if somebody
God.
says, tell me who could have done this, it will only let you choose from the profiles section.
Yeah.
That
And
is very helpful.
if they say present evidence, you can only choose from the evidence bucket. So they will eventually lock you into that. But we do have to get through. I believe that's when that comes in, is Game 4. I think is when they finally make that adjustment.
A
And it is
polyjustice.
it's so much simpler then, because they will just say, like, choose who you're accusing, and then you go, okay, and you go down through your list of people that you've got, and you don't have to worry about accidentally presenting the wrong evidence. You just choose from your profiles.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future technology of like learning a little bit about what's actually annoying in video games.
I think I relate to your frustration of like missing a dialogue tree, because in the Miles Edgeworth case, Game 1-4, there's a situation where I was lost for like 30 minutes until it occurred to me that I had to talk to Larry Butts. Which, side note, where the fuck is Larry this game? He's missing. I miss him.
He's busy.
He's busy.
I miss Larry.
I miss Larry. And then there's like the only moment where I looked up a guide was because I misclicked on the fucking when you gotta use the cortisol or whatever. What's it called? Cortisol? Is it cortisol in Game 1-5?
Luminol.
Oh,
Luminol, Tiago.
Yeah.
Please.
I keep calling it cortisol.
Please.
You gotta use the
Just like 10 seasons of just like a billion seasons of forensic files flashed before my eyes there, as you called it, cortisol. And I was like,
the
I
cortisol.
should know what that is.
Like it's just like, this is just like one of those gaming things where like you can misclick, and like I was literally like a fucking pick. Like I knew I had to spray the locker and I didn't. This is me just talking about my regret that I had to look up a guide because I don't like doing it.
I
it's
don't
alright.
regret that I looked up a guide because I never would have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made it if I hadn't.
It's just that, like, I feel like, would a game like this be, do you think that it would be nice if it had, like, a little indication of, like, you need to talk to this character, you know what I mean? Or, like, would you not want that?
I don't think I would want it to be, like, so specific, but, like, I feel like after a certain point, like, some indication that, like, the world state needs to change. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you've missed something. Maybe not even tell me where, but just, like...
Are you sure you talked to everybody? Like, maybe
Yeah,
someone just
like-
approaching you being like, did you talk to everybody?
Like, some prompt where it's, like, something.
Right.
Because,
right.
you know, there's... And I don't know how you would incorporate, hey, you didn't finish that dialogue tree with Pearl because you, the player, already figured out the solution. So you didn't make her explain it to you.
It would just make me think about those, like, Life is Strange-esque, where it's like, you're going into a room and then, like, your character goes, yeah, I didn't finish talking to Johnny. I should go see how he's doing. And then, like, you can't leave the room. And then you try again, and it's like, Johnny's really sad. You haven't talked to him about the Final Fantasy, the Spirits Within. You should check again.
Phoenix Wright just starts talking like a AAA game protagonist.
Yeah.
Huh, I should really spray some luminol on that bookcase over there so I can see if there's any blood stains.
I mean,
you know?
we make fun of it, but there is a reason they do that.
Do you think Phoenix Wright trying to find all the Riddler trophies? He's trying to find all the killer trophies all across the fucking town.
all the cards.
Yeah, man.
He hops off a fucking Empire State Building into a fucking hay barrel. That's the thing though, is that, like, it's weird to call them old, but this is like a 20-year-old game, and, like, there are, like, things that we are now used to in, like, the 20 years of gaming that just don't exist in this one. And that's not, like, sometimes it's to a fault, but, like, at other times it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I literally don't have an end to the sentence.
It was a Game Boy Advance series, you know, like, and they didn't know that they were going to get any games after the one that they got. And you know, it was a crew of, like, between 7 to 9 people, depending on the game 1 or game 2. And so it's, you know, it's not a lot of people, and the crew has learned a lot since then, and a lot of different people have worked on the game since then too. I have a quote from Shu Takumi's blogs that he made on the Capcom blog, translated again, as always, by Ash on Gyakuten Saiben Library. And his quote here is, "Use every idea you have. That's my own personal rule. I don't know whether I get to create a Gyakuten Saiban 3, and I might die tonight getting a piece of rice cake stuck in my throat.
Okay.
So, even if that piece of rice cake gets stuck there, I plan to spew out all the ideas I have. And also, the deadline was right in front of me, so I didn't have time to think of something different."
Now that's relatable.
He mentions that the original script was 6 bulky folders large, each of them practically a novel, about 1,500 pages long in total, which he wrote in 3.5 months, which is insane. And then, we've talked about this already in the past, but I listened to Just King Things, which is a great podcast about the works of Stephen King, and they really, like, contextualize things nicely with Stephen King's, like, cocaine use and other drug use, you know, through his life and how it affected his work and that sort of thing. And I don't think this is necessarily that serious, but Shu Takumi in his blog goes very in depth, actually, about how much whiskey he drinks.
You
like,
would think
a lot.
That would not make you work as fast as cocaine. But,
like, he
you know?
he mentions drinking a lot. He says he always drinks when he's writing, and then again he does this bit where he has Phoenix and Maya, like, act out a little play talking about him writing the game, and Maya's like, "Wait a minute, should he be drinking at work?" And Phoenix goes, "Oh, well, he doesn't drink during office hours, of course, but on his days off, or when he's not at the office or at nights, he has some." But then they also mention that he would take a health drink bottle
Oh, buddy.
and pour whiskey in it
Yeah. Okay.
and bring it in with him.
Okay.
Oh,
And so the
buddy.
division, he has a bit here where it's him and the division chief at Capcom.
Oh
Capcom,
my
excuse me.
god.
Is he writing
Takumi.
skits?
Takumi, yes, writing a skit about himself and his boss here.
Oh,
and again,
buddy.
I have to assume if he's writing about this, there's a good thick layer of comedy and fiction on top of this. But still, and I know Japanese work culture, totally, different, especially 20 years ago. But as he writes, Takumi is struggling heavily with the scenario, and the division chief comes in. Oh, Takumi, working on a Sunday? And he goes, Chief Mikami, hello. And the division chief goes, what's wrong? You don't look so good. You feeling bad? And he goes, no, nothing's wrong at all. He goes, okay. Well, it's not good for you to drink all those health drinks, And Takumi goes, yes, sir.
This is, of course, Shinji Mikami.
Yes, this is Shinji Mikami. Yes,
notable work
the one and
of
only.
Resident Evil.
Catching Takumi drinking on the job. It's just,
Hey, if you're
like
working,
I said, I know this
listen,
is fiction.
everybody. If you're working
But-
Sundays, you can drink on the job.
If you work Sunday not in like a retail place, don't go to work
Yeah,
if like
don't.
Target drunk.
Don't work retail
It's-
drunk because your coworkers will have to cover for you. I assure you.
It's just, I'm just a little worried, Takumi. I know you're probably not doing this now, but it's just, oh my goodness, buddy. It's so much talk about drinking and drinking to get this work done. And I guess when you write a script in 3.5 months for an entire game from scratch, and that included the case that got cut too. That he wrote that case at the time too, and they just took it wholesale out and moved it to the next game.
Yeah, I'm actually
Like, that
amazed
was-
it's not cocaine at this point.
I'm actually amazed this game got fucking finished. I'm like, the
It-
homeboy was drunk.
Crunch culture
so-
stuff.
Anyway, so all that to say, game development's hard, but please watch your alcohol consumption.
Speaking of
Don't
alcohol,
hurt yourself.
was the
Yeah.
tomato juice in the apartment actually tomato juice, or was that like fucking champagne or whiskey that was localized into tomato juice?
I don't know about the original game. I can see if I can double check here.
Whenever I
But-
see like alcohol or cigarettes in a video game, I think to myself, lollipops and soda. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I mean, they have typically in the past also avoided any
cigarettes.
alcohol reference in the game because they to talk around a future character. There's another future character who was originally intended to drink whiskey and smoke cigarettes in the courtroom,
Oh hell yeah! He's
And
getting
they-
lit in the court.
and they cut that out entirely because they, quote unquote, according to Capcom, would be a bad influence on kids. So I assume that most of the time any alcohol or smoking is brought up, it in the original Japanese game, it was also, papered over a little bit to not make it.
I just think that it's
On the other
crazy.
hand, that would be sick, though.
If
that'd
a
be
man was
cool.
drinking
What
tomato
a
juice
cool
out of a
dude.
cocktail glass,
Well, just wait till you meet him. We'll find out.
You're
what you
right.
think of
I
him.
shouldn't run my mouth. He could be a fucking clown.
oh, that's true. I think you're gonna say he could be a murderer. He's a clown. This
That's
is
fine.
okay, my bad.
What
Murderers.
if Rose Hatemore a clown or a murderer?
Britta from Community turning around. Now I can accept murderers, but I draw the line at clowns.
I do draw the line at
you
clowns.
know a lot. You can accept murderers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like. Sorry, I just spaced out for a second. I'm very tired,
No worries.
y'all.
That's okay. We can wrap up here. I'll cut this all out.
Keep it in.
I can. Okay.
We don't have to leave it in.
I'm authentic. I do one take.
No,
Uh-huh.
no, don't do that to yourself,
I'm
buddy.
calculatron.
Let's talk about the ending then as we wrap up here.
Yes.
Dessy, how did you feel about the ending and how this game started to leave things off for game 3? I know you have a little more context than the other two, like me, and so like knowing what you know, now that you've seen all the parts play out again, did you feel happy with where Game 2 left things?
I think it was fine with where they left things, given now the context of all of Shoots and the game development issues. But yes, I think it was fine. I think the whole bit with Francisca was cute, particularly at that point. But yes, I think it was all fine.
Okay. The bit with Francisca, I do find it really interesting, and I was about to say something that might be considered a spoiler, so
Don't
I will
say
keep
it.
that to myself.
I'll have something not spoiler free to say because I don't know shit. I liked that the end scene, for me, it had value in revealing that the revenge that she's been wanting this whole time was not against you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. It was always about Miles, and you were just sort of there.
The catalyst, I guess, or whatever.
He wasn't there, so she was like, I'm gonna get him by getting this dipshit. And it worked, I guess. Also, her cry sprite was cute. Yeah.
Her what?
I think they should hug. Her crying sprite.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But they didn't. Instead, I just, it was kind of fucked up how I handed Miles a whip and then he gave it back. Whatever. It's fine.
They're fucked up. Like, that's the thing, though, is that, like...
There's no reason that Phoenix would have been there at the airport, is the real reason.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Also, like, Miles Edgeworth and Francisco Von Karma are just fucked up little people, and they should deal with things in their own fucked up little way.
Oh, their dad messed them up so bad.
I liked it. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't hand Miles Edgeworth the whip on the first try, and I was like, nah, I'm fucking reloading. This is the end of the case. I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. And I gave him the whip this time because I saw it in my inventory. I guess, like, again, this is just the fact of, like, someone else is over there resolving their own arc, and I'm, like, sitting here like, I fucking fought you for 3 cases, and I don't get to resolve your arc? Like, fucking, I did the legwork.
I didn't feel like it was resolved. That's the thing.
Exactly. Like, it's not over.
Yeah, because she leaves and she's like, no, I'm still gonna get your ass, Miles. And I'm like, all right, so we'll see more of this later. You know?
She'll be in...
Yeah, it is not over.
She'll be in Game 3, I guess. Yeah, I gotta say, I do like this game. Do I like it as much as Game 1? I like some things about this more than I like Game 1, and there are some things about Game 1 that I like more than this game. I feel kind of equal about them.
Music's still banging. Yeah. Absolutely killing it.
Yo,
Lots of good tracks in this case. When Matt flips and he pulls out that giant juice glass that makes him evil, that music was rocking. Sad we didn't get to hear more of Pearl's theme.
Love
We
Pearl.
pretty much only got to hear it whenever she was interacting with the cat JPEG.
Yeah.
But that was cute. Liked that.
With Shu, the cat.
Shu, the cat.
I would die for Pearl. She's an adorable little kid. I'd buy her some V-Bucks for Fortnite.
Oh my god.
She doesn't know what a Fortnite is.
Let's keep it that way.
She's a cool kid. I'd give her a cigarette.
I'd buy Pearl Minecraft.
Let's buy Pearl Minecraft, Fortnite.
That's better than Fortnite.
I'll buy her a Halo 3.
What do you mean, Mr. Nick? You don't know how to craft? You don't know how to craft a crafting table? I'll show you, Mr. Nick.
Oh
Mr.
my god,
Nick.
Pearl, please teach me. ASMR Pearl teaches you how to play Minecraft. Like
I
your
would
Phoenix,
love it
right?
if there was like a fucking Twitch streamer that was just Pearl playing Minecraft and like
It's
Nick
just
would
the
show
top
up
half
in
of
the
her head.
background doing his own case. Oh god.
Well, so Game 2 wrap up. I figured I'd ask similar questions to what I did last time when we wrapped up Game 1. So let's start with Tiago here. Favorite case in this game?
I guess by default, like, no, I guess I do kind of like case 2 too, the one where you defend Maya again. That was actually fun because like it explores both Pearl, it explores Maya, her family, her fucked up little family shit. Like, if I had to put the ranking of cases in order, we take 1 out because 1 doesn't matter. We put 2.
How dare you, good sir?
We bury Big Barry circus into the fucking ground because that one's the shittiest. Even though there are some amazing concepts in it. Listen, just because there's like a shit, well, I'm not gonna drink a smoothie if 50% of it's made out of shit. You know what I'm saying? That's that case.
I do.
So like in case 4 and 2 are on equal footing for me. Because both of them had Pearl, my new favorite sidekick. I like Maya, but like Pearl's not that demanding, so
Sure. Going off of that, then favorite NPC.
Pearl. She's a cool kid.
Pearl. Yeah.
I like sometimes you just need a character who's like, there's like those quote unquote boring characters where they're just normie core, and like sometimes you just need a normie core character, you know. You just need
But
a character.
she's so endearing too.
Exactly. You just need a character who's like, Maya, you're stressing me out. You're causing me bills and shit. And Pearl's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Nick. I'll make you feel better. And I'm like, I'll
make you a salad.
Do you have any lettuce? And you go, what's lettuce? And she goes, oh, I guess I won't. And then Gumshoe's like, I'll make you some ramen. And he was like, I don't have any ramen either. It's like, oh.
Pearl and Gumshoe is a very cute interaction.
Hey, kid, you want to see a gun? Real talk, that's what I would do if I was a cop. Good thing we're not a cop.
Man.
And then favorite music track.
I can't remember a goddamn thing.
That's all right.
Literally can't remember a single track. I'm just gonna say theme of Pearl. Done.
We're all Pearl fans here. How about you, Dessy? Do you have a favorite case out of this game?
2.
2 as well?
2,
okay.
Yeah. I liked the fact that they got more into the spirit channeling stuff. And I liked the music in that area. Kind of like the Zen style music of all that.
You like the Fae clan like theme?
Yeah. I don't know. I like the kind of like Japanese aesthetic of quiet Zen gardens. So.
And then since that's kind of covering the music bit, do you have a favorite NPC?
I probably would say Pearly. She's just cute.
All right, Rose, are we going to keep the Pearl streak going?
Pearl is definitely my favorite new NPC. No, it's Francisca. I can't. I mean, I feel like I already knew she existed because I had seen images of her. So, but no, it's definitely. She's what I wanted. Here she is, and she's got a sad dad backstory, which is the brand that I desire. Because I have a great relationship with my dad, the judge of Ace Attorney. And so, I look at a character who's got a sad dad backstory, and I'm like, tell me more. But favorite track definitely goes to Pearl, so she still gets to squeak in there. Her jaunty little, like, happy child tune that plays, it made me so happy.
It's really good.
So that was my favorite new track introduced.
All right.
But definitely liked the new additions to the reoccurring cast, I think, in Pearl and Francisca. I enjoy them both.
If Pearl is not in the third game, I'm going to fucking riot.
I think she's going to be sticking around. I have a feeling.
You better be.
What about your favorite case?
Favorite case?
Rose,
I forgot.
yeah.
I think I'll say the last one. I feel like I got frustrated with it, but I still feel like it had like the most content, which is good? Question mark?
It had more meat to it.
Yeah. And because if I don't,
milk.
I wasn't like, I feel like the second case was still pretty good, but the problem is that I did love the first case. I loved the fire extinguisher case. It was so funny. Oh man, I sure hope I don't get hit in the head with another fire extinguisher.
I'm probably gonna get hit by a bus or some shit.
Oh my god, isekai me to hell. Let's do it.
Alrighty. Well, yeah. As far as my favorites go, then I do think I still come down on liking Case 4 the most here, just because I do like the novelty of finally defending a guilty client and having to reckon with that. The moment of, Engard revealing his true self is really, really good. I love the some of the even if it gets drawn out a little bit long, I really love the interactions between Phoenix and Edgeworth as they are interacting in the courtroom and dragging things out together. One of my favorite moments in all the game series is this one in this case where Phoenix throws the cell phone across the courtroom to Edgeworth.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
And the way that they show that it happens is by making the picture of the cell phone appear in the center of the screen and spin and then shrink. And it's so good. It's so good.
1 second, Your Honor. Throw cell phone to Edgeworth.
Yeah, Edgeworth, catch.
Edgeworth
goes,
he just
court's in session. Click.
Click. Just hang up on Gumshoe. Oh, he's so good.
It's a really, really great moment. As far as NPCs go, I think as far as new favorite characters in this, I do like Pearls a lot. And I like Francisca, and I'm glad to have new ongoing characters. But if I was to try to pick somebody else, just to give some more variety to our list, I think I'd probably end up going with Adrian, because I do still, despite, like I said with my concerns earlier, I still really like her arc on the whole. And I think she's, a really interesting character that's got a lot of depth that typically the NPCs in Ace Attorney they don't get quite nearly that much. So I liked that there was a lot to dig into there and a lot to think about. And for music track, I'm going to pick one a little off the beaten path. I really like, it is called Search in the Midst 2002 is the title of it.
2002.
Yeah, that's the thing is when they title these tracks, they put the year that the game came out in for some of them, because each game gets its own investigation theme, own objection theme, etc. So they will sometimes label them with the year rather than the game that they came from. So Objection, the original one, is called Objection 2001. The objection from this game is called Objection 2002.
Fair enough.
And this one is called Search in the Midst 2002. And it's just a really good little bop of investigation music that has stuck in my head a little bit since we finished up that last case. And I was humming it the other day, and I was like, you know what? That's a pretty good track. So thank you, Akemi Kimura, for coming in and filling the shoes of the previous composer ably well and doing a great job at this game here. So
yeah, music was still banging. The underwater vibe of the courtroom tracks was really.
Yeah,
when you're pressing people, mermaid
I talked
song.
about this. Yeah, I talked about this a little on the stream, but I did feel like I was sort of in an underwater palace. That one track. Shout out to that one track where the tambourine comes in. That's my runner-up. Love that.
I want to listen to this, but it's all on Spotify, and I want to listen to it, but it also includes Game 3 shit, and I'm like, I can't listen to that because if I do, that's a spoiler.
We can put some links in the Discord later if we need to.
Oh,
but
hell
but yeah. So yeah, that's Game 2. Justice for All. On the whole, I think despite the really, black spot that is Turnabout Big Top, it sets up a lot of stuff that I'm really excited to see the payoff again for Game 3, because it's been a long time since I played Game 3, probably 10 years, maybe more, since I last replayed it. So I'm really interested in seeing how that all fits together. And this game introduced, the Psyche locks and all that fun stuff that brings some of my favorite elements of the game, which is the actual, literal specific contradiction findings, and brings that out into the investigation phases, which I just, again, really enjoy. So, yeah, any last thoughts on Game 2 before we call it here?
Francisca. Sorry, I was so excited. I didn't even say it out loud. I just thought it in my head. I was like, Francisca.
Yeah, Francisca. That's what I said too.
All right.
We
said it at the same time.
Yep.
I really like that little card, the killer's card with Maya's doodle of Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
On it.
Wait, that was Maya's doodle?
Yeah, she drew that while she was a hostage.
Oh, I thought that was the killer implying that he was going to kill Phoenix Wright.
No, she used that card to unlock the door.
Why the fuck did she draw on it?
When you're locked in a room and you have nothing else to do.
You starve and black out like a normal person would.
She had a pen. I didn't even... No, it was cute. It was a sweet little doodle.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cute. So...
What else? Oh, we've been making some jokes on the stream about what year this game comes out, and I know officially in the timeline it's 2017 or something.
That was a VHS player.
But there was literally a bit in this case about oh, how if you put your cell phone too near your computer screen and there's interference. It's 2002, everybody.
I'm gonna try this right now. Is it working?
Only you can know this.
Happening.
Okay.
Anyways.
Okay.
It's not the future in this game. I can't accept it.
This VHS tape that we got.
Yeah, I can't.
It's crucial evidence.
I can't with the VHS.
I can't believe the killer didn't look at it. That's the craziest part. I would be. You know what? The trust between
He's a professional.
Client. He's a professional.
He's a consummate professional.
I can't wait to play Game 3. There's a guy with some fucking Star Trek ass glasses in it.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, fucking Lieutenant Geordi's in there.
I do love that guy.
Lieutenant Geordi's great. He did Reading Rainbow and everything.
He did. Well, I told you I love that guy.
Game 3 also has. I'm gonna make some wild shots here. It's gonna have at least one animal, one new kid. Francisca's gonna be there, obviously, because we talked about it. Larry's gonna be there. I know it in my heart.
Yeah, Larry's
gonna be there.
Larry hits me in the head with a fire extinguisher, causing the tutorial case to happen. That's my prediction.
Y'all ever see Skins?
No.
I feel like we talked about this before, but in Skins, the main character at the season 1 finale got hit with a fucking bus, and that's why no one talked to him in season 2. It's because yeah, he's different since the bus accident. It's whoa.
Jesus.
Skins is a fucked up show.
Fuck?
Hey, it just goes to show how fucked up British teenagers are.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're not wrong, I guess.
Shout out to all our British fans. I get
all however many of you there are.
I hope that you guys avoid the attack the block scenario that I assume is happening every weekend.
That's a good movie. All right,
get us out of here. Beam me out of here.
All right, we'll do it.
I gotta go get hit in the head with a fire
We'll call it here.
Let's roll.
Yeah, you can follow the show on Twitter at Ace Attorney Pod to stay up to date on the latest episodes, as well as the streams and YouTube uploads that Dessy and I do of us playing through the game. You can follow me on Twitter at Yotseben. Dessy, where can people find you?
Yes, this is Des on Twitter.
And Tiago?
I am at Tiago S. Dutra on Twitter.
All right, and Rose?
You can find me on Twitter at TromArts or Rose Nonsense, my art and personal account, respectively. Please purchase my art in exchange for money because I am poor. Thank you.
Yes, help our friends out. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope that you'll rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform of choice. One other little note here, as you probably imagine, we don't do any advertising. We don't, pay to get our podcast name out there or anything like that. So if you really like this show and you think we've been doing a good old job here, go ahead and tell somebody about us. If you know an Ace Attorney fan in your life, or somebody who you want to get to play Ace Attorney and you want them to play along with the podcast, I think that's a pretty great way to. I think that's a pretty great way to experience the series personally. So tell them about us, and we'd greatly appreciate it, because if we have more listeners, it means we can do this more, and we are cooking up some bonus content as well that will be extra stuff in addition to the regular playthroughs of the series. So if you want to hear us maybe talk about the Ace Attorney live action movie, then keep that in mind, because that might be coming out.
I was like,
yeah,
what are we talking about?
That might be something that we're working on here. So, but for now, next episode we'll be heading into the third game, titled Trials and Tribulations, with case 3-1, called Turnabout Memories. So if you are playing along with us, if you're playing along with us, make sure to pick up game 3 and start Turnabout Memories. And in 2 weeks' time, we'll catch up with you then. Thanks so much for listening, and have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.